Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good to
morning.
see you.
It's just me and Claude.
We have overcome some slight technical difficulties as usual.
I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm sure at least one technical glitch with our audio will occur before the end of the show.
Well, yeah, that if we don't lose it altogether. I'm not so sure that won't happen. iCloud is not being happy with me today for some reason. I couldn't figure out what's going on. But anyway, Jerry had to work today. Steve, I think, is still feeling a little crummy with that shoulder. Because he actually texted me Thursday and said he wasn't going to be on the show tomorrow. I said, well, tomorrow's Friday. We won't be there either.
There might be some medication involved.
Could be, could be. But anyway, Steve's still dealing with that, and of course, we never know if Bill's going to be here or not. Hopefully, uh, he's doing all right. But anyway, in the meantime, Dennis, you want to tell us who's here? You want me to read them all?
I can probably do it. Let me see. I'll just start at the top here. We got John Grandpa Rails, Lynn McCurdy, Randy Doman, Rob T-Man, Sparky's here, Chris Brew, Michael McCarville, James from the Dundas Junction, Steve Anderson there, the 87 PSAP, Roy Bertelson, Gerald Stewart's here, Wigwag, that's Steven, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Scrolling. We got the Messy Modeler. Good morning. We got Steve from Train Waybills. That's Trevithic. I can't remember his last name. I probably destroyed it. I apologize, Steve. Go via or go home.
Hey, and what's your first name so we can call you by your first name?
My first name's Dennis.
Oh, okay.
I think that's it.
Canadian
Locomotive Logistics is also in. Darren, I think
that's right. I believe that's right. Sparky says he thinks he's here.
Go via or go home apparently is Chris. So
Chris,
welcome to the show for whatever that's worth.
Yes, welcome, guys.
And Dave from BNSF is also here.
Oh, okay. Hey, Dave. Good to see everybody. And I don't know how many of you guys have been over to the Facebook page or even get on Facebook for that matter, but I put all the HO standard gauge and the one NON30 loco that I have. I put them all on the Facebook page. If you guys want to look, go over there and look. And there's about 4 or 5 different posts. I tried to kind of separate them a little bit, but if you want to go in there and if you have any questions, just message me on there, or you can send me an email. Here, I'll show you. I'll give you the email to send it to if you want to send me an email. Okay. Or you can send me an email, right? Oh, there. Okay. Or you can send me an email there. And I am Mike. I'm keeping all the narrow gauge stuff, but I had the standard gauge stuff because I had dual trackage in there. So, but they're all early diesels. Some of them have DCC, some don't. There's 2 steam locomotives. One is a 460 Bachmann Spectrum, and that's the one that's got the little broken pin where it connects to the tender, but that would be an easy fix. And the other one is a Bachmann, I think it was Bachmann Spectrum, but it's unlettered, so it's just plain black. Good looking loco, but it's just DC. It doesn't have a decoder in it yet. there's a GP7 Atlas GP, no, not an Atlas, yeah, Atlas GP7 with the TCS decoder in it. And then some Athearn F units and some Stewart F units. And I don't know if you guys have ever had a Stewart loco or model and seen how they run. They remind me of the Athearns. They run really smooth, fairly quiet. Um, and they come with all the details. You could put all the details on yourself, but uh, I would. I know that TCS makes some decoders for some of them, but I'm sure you could get other decoders in there, and you probably have to modify maybe the body weight or something a little bit. But yeah, they are decent locos. It's too bad that they went out of business or sold to somebody else. I'm not sure what happened with them, but I had never heard of them until I saw them on eBay, and I thought, hmm. And then I started looking it up, and people were talking good about them, and I thought, well, I'll buy some of those. So I've got some FM units, freight units. Um, there's some there's some other stuff in there, some PA units in there, uh, stuff like that. I know there's one Walther PA unit that has DCC. But anyway, if what does Dennis' shirt say? I have no idea. Dad, oh,
Dads against daughters dating. I stand by that to this day.
uh, yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, if you got any interest in any of those, send me an email or something, and we can talk price. I didn't put any prices on any of it, but you know, you make me an offer and probably be good. Because I just need to get rid of them. There's no sense in holding on to them, and I don't want to have to put them on eBay or anything like that. So, if you're interested, just let me know. So, what's new with you, Dennis? Dennis, did I see? Did I
Well,
see what?
I'm finally.
Go ahead.
And say I finally am moderately healthy after 2 weeks of coughing and hacking and
Look better.
major sinus headache and all of that. I'm finally, back in the 90 percentile of feeling good. So that's
Well,
helped.
I'll preface that. I don't know if that you look any better, but you sound better.
Well, I mean, looks are looks. I can't help myself there. You get what you see. So, but
Yeah.
I've been gluing up some spline. So my spline to Hellgate that's associated with the bridge. I think I've got four splines glued together now up to the bridge, and I plan on getting a fifth spline glued in directly after the show. And then I think I'm going to start working on some scenery aspects.
Get a little change of pace.
I need to do something different, I think.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about that. That's what I did. I laid track for a long time, and then I thought, I'm tired of laying track. I want to do something else. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that could
Yeah,
go down a rabbit hole real quick.
The only other thing that I wouldn't mind doing, I've got all of that over there in the Cloud City. Hold on.
I hope that wasn't a train hitting the table.
It was it was a Claude Christ clamp that was holding the spline that kept the 482 from going. I think I'm okay now.
Okay,
But I've got
that wasn't
all of
the
that to do over there in Cloud City. With what?
That wasn't the train that hit the table.
No. No, it was a
That
piece of wood.
sounded really bad.
Yeah, I just knocked it off. But I've got all of that track work to do over there, and if I begin doing that, I will be doing that for the next 2 months at the very least. And I don't really want to do that at this point. I want to leave that lay for a while and do it a little. I want to build the turnouts up there kind of at a slower pace, one at a time, like maybe one a week or something like that, while I'm doing other things. And so I think I'm going to get a bunch of foam out today and play with foam. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah, well, I did the same thing, when I was laying track, and then I got to the mountain and I thought, I'm gonna plaster this sucker up, and that all happened during the pandemic, and we were chatting with each other online, but and then we started the beans show and stuff, and that's when I got all the mountain done as far as plastering and painting. Um, but it's nice to be able to go to scenery after doing all the track work stuff, uh, because that's what really brings it alive, at least to me. Putting the house, the detail on it, houses, cars, whatever, people, all that's what really brings the layout to life, even
Yeah.
though it's not really anything to do with the trains. But it all goes together, and it's a nice deterrent or a break from doing one aspect to be able to go over and do something else.
Yeah. And right now I can operate the video. I can operate the railroad with enough variety to keep myself tickled pink, for a long time. There's a little frustration in Cloud because of I'm making use of over center springs, and I haven't quite got that figured out yet. That's something I need to tweak on a little bit. There's a couple things going on there that I just need to figure out so that I've got a bulletproof center spring operation going on. And then I also don't have a runaround at the moment, which causes some issues in the operating value of the area. But once I get that done, I don't really need to do anything else track wise to make it operate in a very satisfying way. I'm really enjoying operations right now, far more than I ever thought I would. When I
Yeah, well,
originally,
what I think too is I never thought I would like operations other than dropping a car here and there, as you run around a loop. But when you've got a layout as large as yours, it really becomes a lot more real because you've got some distance to travel before you switch out cars, and then you do that, and
and
you
you've
go
got
on, and
things
you
you
go
need to do
back.
before you travel the distance. It's not
Yeah,
just
yeah, you got to
traveling
set
the
it up.
distance. It's what cars need to go at the head end, what needs to be in the middle, what needs to be at the back, and making those decisions before you ever leave, and then sorting the cars out. That's all part of it. And so I can do one aspect, that might take me 10 or 15 minutes. And if I want to walk away from it and do something else, I can.
I agree, Lynn. That's the best sleep you get, man. Uh, yeah, but when you've got something to do with the railroad, it gives it a meaning, a purpose, which is what the railroads were built for in the first place. Um, but when you're looking at, say, like a book of 101 track plans, the first 3 pages are all ovals with one spur,
Right.
or two spurs, and you just can't do a lot with that. Obviously, those are made for people that don't have space, which I fully understand that.
Or they're just not that, I don't know what the word is. They're not that committed to the hobby in that way. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that. It's just a matter of what do you want out of the hobby? And
I've seen those kind of layouts be incorporated into a larger one like what you've got. I mean, look what they did with the Gory and Defeated. You know, John Allen's original double loop, double oval, um, is now, or at least the plan I saw, and I don't remember what book I saw it in, but I saw it in one of the Bible books. And the sucker's
yeah,
huge.
I've got his. I forget what the book is called, but it's you know, it's a paperback about that thick that basically goes over the entire history of the railroad, where it began and where it ended up. And yeah, I mean, that's a good example of something that was a couple of loops that turned into, you know, something far more, I don't even know what the
Yeah.
word to call it, you know, epic, you know, for sure.
Yeah. It's like they took that section and just made it a section, a small area of the layout, and they incorporated all that in. So
Yeah.
that can always, yeah, on that last operations, Card County. Okay.
I thought you were supposed to count the cards before you left, you know? No, I have all, man, I've got 10 cars on the train, but only 8 cards in my hand. What's going on here?
Well, obviously Mike's been going to the casino. So, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there you go.
Here's a, uh, how's the card sorting function working for you, Dennis? In a word, I will be very blunt. It's slippery. And I've been meaning to get on the Facebook site and post that. But so when you grab the card, and I know this is, people are probably not have any idea what I'm talking about, so I'll try and be brief. When you grab the card to slide it left or right to put it in your train, the background whoop, 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 moves extremely fast, making it a little frustrating to put the card in the train where you want it. Other than that, if you're dealing with 5 or 6 cars, no big deal. If you're dealing with a 13 car train, it becomes very elusive to put that car card in train order. If that makes sense, Steve. If that could slow down, it would be awesome.
Question. What was that sound again?
Mm-hmm. Whoop whoop. It's similar to the sound that a snipe makes if you've ever been snipe hunting. That's what you're supposed to call out to draw the snipe in.
Knife in, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that and the flashlight and the pillowcase, you know. Oh, well, that takes me back several years. Oh,
Yeah.
did that more than once. Anyway, yeah, but is that the only problem you're having with it? I mean, it's doing,
If we're talking about the train way bills,
yeah,
I mean, I don't consider that a problem. It was a vast improvement over not being able to pick a car card and put it in the train where you want
where you
it.
want it.
Right. So if you're going to classify a bunch of cars that just came into your arrival departure track, and you're going to sort them into their various tracks that they need to go to for the next destination, the standing order at which they happen to come into the yard from might not be in any relationship to your yard tracks. So being able to put those cards in order, and then now I'm looking at the last car in the file, you know, I know that it needs to go here, it needs to go there, that kind of thing. Before you couldn't slide them around at all. They were by location order, if that makes sense. However, your
And
map is designed within the program is the order in which the cars will lay out in the train automatically, which sometimes is nice, but not when you're sorting cars necessarily.
so I'm taking it, you're like clicking and dragging the card, and when you
Yeah,
do that, then the rest of them go real fast.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
So
had that happen on other
you've
programs.
got control of the car card, And then if you move it left or right, the background slides behind that card so that you can drop it in between two other cars or at the end or at the beginning. And the background moves so fast that it goes beyond where you want it to go almost immediately. If you've got a small layout and you're not using any kind of application, you don't have car cards and you're just running trains around, you've got 4 or 5 different spots to put things. The free version of this, in my opinion, might completely change the way you're operating, the way you do things on your layout. I can't say enough good things about it. And Steve's not paying me. You know, he's not paying me. I'm not a paid sponsor, nothing like that. But it has really made it so much more enjoyable, in my opinion, than what I was doing with the JMRI. It's not even funny.
Yeah. Reading the chat here, see if we can get some questions. But yeah, I can see using that maybe at a later date. If he's up to 40 cars, I don't think I'll ever have more than that
for
on
your
anything
future
I do in
layout,
future.
it'll be perfect for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I'll be much smaller, and so I won't have near as many. What I'm shooting for is much more what you did with the
Time saver.
the time saver. Yeah, and really get in and really put a lot of detail in, and then do the same thing with the rolling stock. You know, whatever rolling stock I do, get in there and detail each car so it looks like an old railroad. You know, um, I haven't done anything to the cars yet, even the ones I've built. I haven't done any detail work to them at all. No weathering, nothing like that. So
Yeah.
I always wanted to wait until I got the thing up and running where I was operational. Then I can take one every once now and then and do something different by weathering a car or detailing it out or whatever. But when I get to that point, yeah, I'll be looking into this. I can see how that would be a lot of fun using that.
Yeah.
What's he saying here? No problem if some do, I get it, but it's a desire to run trains. That said, some people never switch cars. It's just a racetrack. Well, that's true. And
Yeah.
but that's everybody's, you pick what you like. That's not any different than building a layout. You know, some people really like laying track. Some people really like doing bench work and stuff. And you laugh, which one you laughing at? You have to put it up there. You know, and people really like doing detail work and scenery and stuff like that. So there's so much stuff in there. And some people like doing electronic work. You know, I like what the electronics can do. I just hate doing it. Much like
Yeah.
but yeah, I can see myself looking into this when I get to that
Yeah.
point.
And
But I
to me,
gotta get rid of the stuff I'm not going to use, so I've got room to do everything else. So go over to the
yeah. So
Facebook
how
page.
is how's the deconstruction coming along? Have you got that
I need to
done
call.
yet, or are you
Yeah, I
still
need to
waiting on
call.
help?
I need help. I need to call my friend over, see if he can come over some day and one day and help me take it off there because it's going to be a 2-man job getting that off of there, lifting it off. I've got the piece ready to come off, uh, but it's going to take 2 of us to do it. So he helped me put it up there, and I'm sure he'll help me take it down. Ted's a great guy. So I've known him for 30 some years, 35, 40 years, somewhere in there. And
Yeah.
he likes all this kind of stuff too. I mean, he's built doll houses for his daughters and stuff like that. Um, so I know he, all I can do is call him and then a drop of a hat, he'll be here. So I just hate to, you know how that is. You hate to take advantage too much, but But
Well, that's why you offer a couple of beers, maybe a
that, most
steak,
definitely, yeah.
and then you do everything that you can do by yourself first, and then you minimize what's going to take two people,
Well,
and then
and
you're done.
that's what I've tried to do, but it's getting that piece off because it's 6 foot long. They're about 5 foot long and 4 foot wide, and trying to get that off without dropping it on everything underneath it and then getting it out the door.
Yeah.
And once I do that, then I can move to the next section. And some of it's going to be easier, but I'd like to get that off, that last piece I put in, last two pieces I put in, so I can take all the buildings off of the main yard area, the roundhouse and all that kind of stuff. I've got some of it off. I got the ice house off, but I still got to take the coaling tower out. I'd like to save that if I can.
Did you put it on a separate piece of?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
And you
But
glued it?
yeah, and it's
What'd
got
you
the
glue it
pit with
with?
it. Probably the E6000. I
Is it
tried to do it with,
soluble with alcohol at all? Do you know?
no, but a razor blade would go right through it.
Okay.
That's the nice thing about that E6000. It stays flexible. And so it holds really well, but you can slice through it really easy too. So, but I want to get the top off so I can get to it better and see what I'm doing and get that out of there. Because the pit, I cut the hole in the sub road bed, so the pit would go down under the track. That's all in there, which is kind of silly because you can't see it. You know, it's in the back of the cooling tower. It's a bad thing with some of our models. You've got a building that's really interesting on both sides, but you've only got the place you can put it. You can only see one side of it. I solved that problem when I did the brewery. I had it out on one of the legs of the Y up on the top deck. You could see both sides of it really well, which came out really nice. But
That's kind of what I did with the E-Dabbler, the huge build. I've got it. You still can't see the far side. There's no way that I was going to get that where you could see it, but you can see three of the four sides you can see quite well.
yeah,
One of them
I've
you
seen
kind of have to
people.
do this, but
Yeah, I've seen people take a small mirror and
yeah,
stick it back toward the backdrop with trees in front of it. So you can't really tell it's a mirror, but you can still see the backside somewhat. And
yeah.
it makes for a real nice depth perception thing too.
That's talking about John Allen. You know, he put a mirror. It's kind of hard to explain, and I'll probably get it wrong, but he put a mirror on a wall on this side that directly reflected off of an area, you know, at the other end of the railroad. And if I remember right, it's been a while since I read about it, but I think he had all in-scale stuff up there. You couldn't see it from anywhere where you were over here on that side of the room. But if you were looking at this side of the room, it looked like you were looking miles and miles away because there was real distance involved and it was all in scale. A very brilliant use of mirrors. He did several things with mirrors. He may have been the person who pioneered mirrors. I can't remember, but
yeah, I don't know. I know at the Model Railroad Museum, and Mike can confirm this, in Greeley, Colorado, they've got some places where they did that. Some of them are like on the end of the street. Now, the layout in that spot that I remember was 3 or 4 feet wide anyway, and then they've got a mirror there.
right.
So unless you get right down on the street and you see yourself in the mirror, it looks like that street's really long.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that can be done with
Yeah,
mirrors.
I'm thinking about putting one, you know, where the Y here at Maroon Creek goes towards the front of the door. If I can figure out how to do it, I want to put, you know, frame a mirror with some trees and some things like that to where it looks like that track continues on down into wherever. It's just a matter of, am I going to get a direct reflection of what you already see or not? So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, I know a lot of people use them at the end of a track that's not really an end of a track. It's and then that mirror looks like
Yeah.
it goes on. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Is
exactly the same.
it Dawn what's the Toy Man Television? I can't think of the
Oh,
name
Dale.
of his channels.
Dale.
He did a really nice one in a mine track not too long ago, like what Steve is talking about there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that done many times, and it looks good. I've not ever opted to do that, but then, who knows? You never know. And
Yeah.
and don't discard using a very small mirror in certain places. That can make it look really good too. But most of those mirrors, especially if you angle them so that you don't directly see your reflection in the mirror.
Right. That the
It
whole thing
really,
is getting the right angle to view what you want and not make it obvious.
yeah.
Right. That's just
That's
exactly
what we're
what we
talking about. Yeah.
Wait. What are we gonna do with him?
Mike, Mike, have you been drinking this morning?
I don't know. One of these days, I hope to meet Mike in person. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, he's starting to scare me, but
Yeah.
uh, what would he say? Not sure about using your, that's just reflection of me. Yeah. And if I could see your reflection in it, Steve, it wouldn't be on my layout.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, okay. So I was going to ask you a question about your bridge,
Uh-huh.
and I was watching the other night, but I was doing something else too while I was watching. Did you heat those girders up and curve them around?
No, they're extremely flexible.
Okay, so but you
You
did
could
curve
just
them around the.
yeah, you could take them and kind of work them, and they will retain a little bit of uh,
Mhm.
a radius just like that. But they bent so easily on there that I didn't really even need to do that.
But
So
you made them
the only
curved though
problem
instead of being straight pieces around.
right, and it's like what I said in the video. I can't remember exactly how I put it, but I know that there are going to be prototypical and engineering inaccuracies with that bridge. There's no doubt that is not going to be a pristine presentation of a girder bridge that would have been built in reality in the same given space and height. Right?
Yeah.
It's just not. They would have done something different, given the same height, the same distance. I'm trying to capture the look and feel of a couple of different prototypes because again, even the bridge over the Georgetown Loop, it kind of had kind of that spidery feel. This one actually probably feels a little more solid than what some of the bridges look like. But that's all I'm trying to do. Does it look like it would have been built in a certain way, and does it represent a railroad bridge that could have been built in that area? I think in reality they may have been able to do that with just two bents in the right places, because we're talking, I guess it's probably about 150 feet long. So I don't know how many bents it would have had, or piers, whatever term you want to
They
use.
they probably
But
would have used double, where they tie the two of them together in a section. I
well,
know a lot of those kinds of bridges were built like that, and the
I
microengineering
think
kits
those would
come
have
that
been the
way.
longer bridges. I think the longer
Yeah.
bridges for sure would have been like that, and the taller. I think a
Hmm.
shorter bridge like this one, because it's only 30 feet, right? We're talking trees the tree in my front yard is taller than that bridge is. So I think a taller bridge like that, they wouldn't have need to connect piers or whatever the correct terminology is for that type of bridge. I don't know that they would have needed to connect them for that height. Uh, I think I probably will connect the two center ones just because. again, it's one of those things I'm scared to do it, because once I do it, it's very difficult to undo. If I use the right kind of glue, and then I look at it and that looks like garbage. It just looks stupid because the other ones are not connected to anything like they should have been. So I don't know. We're just going to have to see.
Yeah, well, it's like the bridge. I used the ME bridge on my standard gauge in front of the mountain, and I've only got two vents on it. And of course, first thing somebody said was, "Oh, that wouldn't support a train." Well, no, but that bridge that's there now, I don't think I could stand on it. I weigh too much, but I bet I could put 30 pounds on that bridge and it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But it would not. I knew that when I built it, but I wasn't after that. I was after the look, like you said, of what it was. Yeah, well, that's where we are. We're 30 minutes late usually. Uh, basically, yeah, primarily by the length of the stringers, yeah. And it just depended,
Yeah.
your wooden trestles and the logging railroad were all different sizes because they were using trees that were right there.
Yeah. And I'm using that 32-foot rule on this bridge. I can't use it perfectly because it ends up putting one of those bents. I think if I were to start on this side of the bridge, the right side looking this way, it would put one of those bents right square dab in the middle of the river, which might be okay. But then the next one, I think, is right square dab on top of some of my track work. So therefore, I can't get it.
Yeah.
I have to fudge somewhere. And
Well, we do
so,
that all the time.
right.
Building a model railroad, you're gonna fudge it all the time because first thing we're doing is condensing everything.
Yeah, good point. Thanks for
Standards lasted 24 hours.
yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that, Mike.
Yeah,
And I think that's how I found Mike originally. I was doing research on trestles, and he's got a lot of, I don't know if they're still up there. He had a lot of really good videos on building wooden trestles.
that's how I found Mike. Uh, First, I was looking for information on wooden trestles, and some of his videos popped up. And of course, he was building them right to what the prototype was, or trying to get as close as he could. But yeah, if you've not seen those guys and you're interested, go to Mike's channel, and if he's still got those videos up, uh, look at those. Those are pretty good.
Yeah. So before I began this bridge, I consulted with AI and pulled up everything I could possibly find associated with the specific Maroon Creek Bridge there at Aspen, Colorado. And, so I had a lot of good information about how it was built. But, when it comes down to it, it was built for a different space and height than what I'm dealing with. So you have to make shit up. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, and the whole trick is an illusion.
Yeah.
When we build a model railroad, we're building an illusion of what people would think it looks like, even if they've never been there. Um, the people that want to get real picky about it, whether or not you're doing it, because I don't care how good a modeler you are, you're you're screwing with it somewhere that's
Yeah.
not real, or not like it was done. There's just no way around that. And so, yeah, the rivet counters, I said, okay, whatever. Not your
Yeah.
railroad, so I don't really care. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I actually kind of have a bone to pick with Michael McCarville.
uh-oh, here we go.
You know,
Let's get ready to rumble.
so you can see my proposed stamp mill up there. And now Michael has come out with a structure that would pretty much perfectly work in the same spot and save
Are you
me
saying
a lot of time.
Are you saying he copied you?
If I were to get that kit, would it fit in the same space and represent what I'm looking for in the same way? So I'm struggling with, that will be mine, right? That's how do I put this? I like the idea of scratch building many structures on the railroad because I did it, right? That's to me, that's a mark of a true craftsman. And I'm not saying I'm any kind of, it's an adventure for me. Can I do this? And so completing something like that would be kind of like a feather in my cap over purchasing a beautiful, wonderful kit that Michael is producing. So it's a struggle for me mentally, which is more important to me. Do I save the time, get a great kit that maybe I could build in a month? I don't know how long it would take. It took me way longer to build that feed mill thing than I ever thought it would. But I still think it would be quicker than the scratch build, I'm guessing. So I don't know. I'm not there yet, but it will be something I will probably struggle with when the
Well,
time comes.
look at it this way, Dennis. If you scratch build it, it takes longer, more chances to drink beer.
True. True.
That's always the tiebreaker right there. Can I drink more beer while I'm doing this?
Hopefully I explained why it's a problem.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you know, not that I've done a lot of scratch builds. I've modified a lot of kits, but I haven't really done much in the way of scratch building, just because I don't want to take the time to do it. Um, but I can see how somebody would want to do that,
Yeah.
especially if you really like doing the buildings. Why wouldn't you want to scratch build one? Make it your own.
Scratch yeah. What's Roy say?
Okay, you post that over on the Facebook
I've
page, Roy?
I've been to that. It's been a couple of years. Is it something they built recently, Roy, or has it been on the layout for a while?
Saying, yeah, I used to think the same way until I got old.
I bounce back.
Now,
I mean, I think that's a good rule, right? But there's
oh yeah,
also, well, and I've said this before, and I think it's a very good way of thinking of things because you can make the decision at will. You either pay with time and energy, or you pay with money. So if the value of what it is you're looking at falls on I will be gaining more by purchasing it with my own money than I would be the time and energy it would take to produce it of your own volition or whatever. It's just a decision you make. Would I like my backdrops? The reason I might want to get printed backdrops is because in a matter of a weekend, I could have a lot of backdrop completed like that. If I make the decision to paint them, which I think I can do, it's going to take a lot more time, a lot more energy. And so, which is a greater value to me in that moment? And I still can't make that decision. It's difficult because I want to paint them, I really do, but it's going to take so much time. I say a lot of things at work. There's some
yeah,
things you can say, and there's some things you better keep your mouth shut about.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I was the same way when I was building airplanes. You know, that's what I enjoyed of the hobby was building the airplane. And I will be the first, and it's an old adage that it's a labor of love, and that it is, because you actually end up spending probably at least half as much again as what a built airplane would cost you, more likely 2 or 3 times. Because if you like building them, you're going to put more detail in, and
Right.
there's more cost involved in that, and also in time because it takes several months to build one, at least a quarter scale or third scale like I was doing. Um, Takes a lot of time and stuff like that. But for me, it was worth it. That's what I enjoyed doing.
Anvil Mountain. Now, I'm not sure that I'm familiar with Anvil Mountain. Is that HO, Scott?
Yeah, is Anvil Mountain, is that a kit, or is it a company that is now done by Berkshire?
I'm going to have to do a little research here.
Yeah, I have to look. Mike
Real
says
time.
Anvil Mountain is gone, so I'm assuming that was a company.
I thought, yeah, if it's so, it's Berkshire. Shire.
Bought the company. Okay, yeah, Berkshire bought them. Okay, yeah, because I'd never heard of them. So Scott's doing Silverton Northern layout. That's interesting because having been up there and done the four-wheel drive thing through that area, if you're in that era of modeling, that is a great place to model. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. Well, yeah, Gerald, you're
Yeah.
right, and that's what. Even though it was from a kit, it was a box of sticks, with a plan, and even some of them I built scratch build. I just had the plan and scratch build. But the rivet counter guys would have said, well, if you use somebody else's plan, you didn't scratch build it. Like I said, scratch building, you had to make the plan yourself and then build the airplane from that. And that's really hardcore there. But
I
that's
don't
what
know
Dennis
that
was
I
saying.
necessarily agree with that statement, but I guess it's
What,
debatable.
your personal
If
creation?
you
If you
build
scratch,
something from plans that you're not scratch building it,
I agree. I felt like I was scratch building. If I'm cutting all the wood pieces, and I built a quarter scale triplane from just the plan, and then I even modified it some. But uh, that to me was even that much more fun than building it from the kit, which is a box of sticks that you end up having to cut half of it up anyway. But Gerald's right. He said, when you're done with a scratch build like that, or even a kit that you've built, if you built it and you really like it, that's something you created, even though somebody else gave you the starting point, because every one of them comes out a little bit different.
yeah. Well, and that's the kind of the same thing. If I go take the measurements from the grain elevator across the street, uh, and I create my own plans on paper, I guess by that argument, you could say, well, you didn't scratch build that.
Yeah, yeah, and
Because
I thought that was a really
I don't know.
flimsy argument against saying it's a scratch build. But some of the guys, of course, if you think railroad modelers get really picky, go to Top Gun down in Florida. That's an invite only fly-in, and those guys are insane into what the prototypes were. They have to be within 10%.
Yeah.
Even the color of paint has to be right. It's really, really crazy. Yeah, building Campbell kit's almost like a scratch build. It really is.
I would call that what is a craftsman kit, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Some
Craftsman kit. But there's a lot of well, is this how they meant to do that? You know, because even if you figure out the instructions on some of those,
Mm-hmm.
you get the part and you go, this doesn't look anything like what they're showing on the instructions, you know, if they even have a picture of it.
Right.
So you kind of have to make up your own way. But there again, for me, that was a lot of fun to do. So I really enjoyed all the camo kits. Oh, that's what I was going to put up there. Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I mean, and that's kind of what I thought of when I was doing airplanes was the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm using a plan, but I'm not using the parts out of a kit. Um,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, it's there again. That's the fabulous part of this hobby is you can take what you want, and you can leave what you don't want to do, you know, or you can buy what you don't want to do. um, but there's so much stuff in the hobby that can be done that's not just railroad. Uh, you know, people say, "Oh, you play with trains." Well, no, I'm a modeler. I like to make a miniature creation of life, and to me, it's a lot of fun to do. I always think of when I'm doing a scene. Um, I like to think of Saturday Evening Post covers, especially if they're a little bit larger. Uh, when I say that, set back scene from a portrait of somebody. Uh, but that's what I always thought was really cool is if I can get that look of the Saturday Evening Post in a scene, I accomplished what I wanted to do.
If you're a building that you found the plans for a library because they kept them, would you not? Absolutely, that would be a scratch build, in my opinion.
If you don't use them, it wouldn't be prototypical. Yeah. Um, See, the thing about prototypical too, you've got a difference in definition there too. Somebody say, well, if it's not exactly like they did it in looks, you know, every piece is exactly like they did it, then it's not prototypical. But say you're doing um, track work like Jeff Otto does, you know, with his Oak Hill, I think it's Oak Hill models, where he's got the fish plates and God, he's got all that stuff, all the detail that goes on. To me, that's prototypical.
Yeah,
You know, if you're doing it like that, then that's prototypical track work. Whether or not that track, you know, was put in by anybody, you know, that those components were used to build a lot of stuff that the railroads used. So it's there again. You've got that. What's the definition really mean? And unless you're doing a contest, it doesn't matter. You know.
yeah. Now speaking of track and prototypical, I think I haven't been to the site recently, but Alan Luazo of Empire Track Works, I think he's producing some flex track that I don't know that you if it will be at a point where you would do like your whole railroad with it, you know, like
Is he the one I'm thinking?
micro engineering or PACO. Do
Is he the
what?
one I'm thinking of? Maybe with all the tie plates and
Well,
the
I
cat
probably
the cast
probably
frogs and
not,
stuff.
probably
I can't
not.
remember.
But I think he's just started doing it. I need to go check his site out, but I think he's only doing standard gauge at the moment. Oh, I forgot to stop.
Your cookies are done.
Yeah, I'll just do that real quick.
Okay, thanks,
I,
Mike. I thought it
I
was
got a
Jeff Otto, but I wasn't
I
sure.
got a turnout that I should have thrown, but I didn't. So
Yeah, but it's yeah, that to me is prototypical track work because that's what the railroads did. That's why he's doing that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that was actually put down by the railroad. You know, like you would say, if I built this boxcar and it didn't have all the rivets in it that a boxcar would have had, or that particular boxcar had, then it's not prototypical. That's ridiculous. You know, to me, that's only in a contest, in an extreme contest, as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's another thing Wilmer pointed out there that
Yeah.
if you build something, and especially if you build it out of thin air, you conceive what you want it to look like, you create the plans on paper, then you build it. That is you couldn't argue that that's not a true scratch build.
Well, the really cool part about that one is you can go out your back door and across the street, and there's the original building.
Right.
You know, and you've recreated it on your layout. To me, is that supersedes anything else, I think. Uh, as far as duplicating things into miniature, and that's really what we're after. But anyway, yeah, we got about 3 minutes left.
Yep. Which, interestingly enough, I started the 482 about 3 minutes before we began the layout, and it has made one complete loop and a little more because it hit the turnout that needed to be switched at the reverse loop. That the turnout was turned the wrong way because I didn't stop it where it started. If I'd have stopped it where it started, that I wouldn't have got that dead short, but I forgot. I didn't pay attention. So about an hour at a scale 25, 30 mile an hour to get completely around the railroad from beginning to end, from beginning to beginning, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Scott's said he's always looking for planned structures that were on the 3 lines out of Silverton. And you've probably already done this. Go look at the Friends of the Cumberson Toltec. We'll have some of that kind of stuff. And Mike can answer that probably better than I could. But as far as pictures and stuff, a lot of that stuff was used all up and down the Rio Grande lines back in the day. So if you go there and get an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Silverton area, going north of Silverton up to Animas Forks, and even over into Cement Creek area and over to Iron Mountain. That's some great stuff to see. I'm so glad Ted, my friend that I was talking about earlier, he and I went up there and did that trip in the 4-wheel because that was not only is it gorgeous scenery, but it's just a neat place to go see stuff. And then you get up top of Engineer Pass, and there's this giant boiler up there. And when they pulled it up there, they drug it because there wasn't a wagon was going to hold it probably, so they drug it on a skid up there with donkeys and horses to get it up to 10,000 feet or 11,000 feet. I think is where that pass is. So yeah, it just kind of boggles your mind the work that went into that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Definitely a different day and age for sure, and mentality about.
And that's not even talking about working at that altitude.
What work
oh my God.
is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's our show, guys. Thanks for being here, and hope you all have a good rest of your weekend and a good week. Dennis, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Glad you're feeling better. Now, if we
Me
get
too.
everybody else back, we'll have a full show. Anyway, have a good week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See you around.